Hi, my name is Ruth. I am so excited to be here today. I'm a huge fan, so this is a special moment for me. But basically, my question is, there are circumstances in the U.S. where little kids come in illegally because of their parents, but they come here and this is their whole life. They have no history in their home country, right? How do we humanely and as conservatives or Christians deal with this in a way that represents our values?
You're not going to like my answer, and that's
Okay.
okay. The whole family unit should be returned back to the country.
Okay, that's what I was tending to think, but
And can I just build it out?
Yes.
So a moral teaching of Scripture is that you do not favor justice for the poor or for the rich. This idea of blind justice. And if we agree it is wrong to do this, and we say, okay, what's the most humane way? It'd be one thing if we say, hey, you separate the family, which ironically, people on the left actually want the family separated.
Yeah.
They say, oh, keep the kids and bring the parents back home. I think that's wrong. I think the whole family unit should return. And here's why, is that these parents, when they brought some of these kids across the border, they knowingly put their kids in harm's way.
that's true.
And it is not fair to the kids of other nations that are not able to legally immigrate into this country just because others were carried across the southern border.
Do you think it would then be reasonable to give maybe these families, and unfortunately due to their parents' decisions, maybe more priority about getting an actual visa or?
No visas. I know, I'm pretty harsh on this,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you why. If we compromise on immigration law, then we do not have immigration law. We must be uncompromising in the enforcement of law, period. And again, if we want to accommodate certain things, then we're basically going to say, hey, this law should not exist and anybody can come in under any
Yeah.
circumstances. But again, the parents are the ones to blame here, not the U.S. government. The parents brought their kids, and I'm going to say something a little bit provocative, almost as like mini hostages against the
Yeah.
system, where they're like, well, you can't deport me because I brought these
Like
kids.
a safety mechanism.
Yeah, as a safety mechanism. And by the way, just so we're clear, some of these kids are brought across in sex trafficking ways.
Yeah.
Some of them are brought in very cruel and unusual ways. And so, again, people don't always love that answer, but
Yeah. I guess my next question to that would be, I'm trying to think. I just, because they have no, maybe they don't even, their first language is English. They may not even speak their native language. And you said that it was, because that's the law right now, that we don't allow immigration inside.
Yeah,
but
it's
in
8
the
USC
past
1312,
presidency,
yeah.
maybe when they came in, that wasn't the case.
Yeah,
So
no, that's- well-
and I don't agree with that was the way it was during that time. But then shouldn't we maybe allow those people to stay because that was acceptable
Got it.
in that
So
moment?
if you're 25 years or younger, it's been the law for about 25 years, right? So
Yeah.
about like 2008, 8 USC 1312.
I
is the
guess
law.
saying just in the last presidency, it was just so chillax, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so look, let's just talk about something that's going to be a huge task, because what you're
Okay.
talking about is still a hypothetical in some
Okay.
ways, because you're talking about people that might have been here for 10 or 15 years. The more important, and one that's going to be a huge lift, is getting all 14 million people that came across in the last 4 years. They do know another nation. They do know another home.
Yeah.
We're not even getting the people that are 18, 20, 25. We're talking about trying to get 14 million people that were bum rushed across the border in the span of 4 years.
Okay.
Every single one of those people should be returned back to their country of origin and deported from the United
Okay.
States.
I agree with that
Yeah.
as well. So
Thank you for your time.
I have a couple points that I want to talk about in illegal immigration. Is it okay if I say all of them with no interruptions? Okay, cool. So, first, illegal immigrants power our economy. They're 50% of U.S. farm workers, harvesting the food on our tables, and fill 70% of construction jobs in states like Texas. They pay $13 billion annually in taxes, including $2 billion to Social Security that they can't claim. Deporting them would slash agricultural output by $60 billion and raise food prices by 6%. Why gut our farms and wallets when these workers fuel our prosperity? That's my first point. Second point, they strengthen our communities with lower crime rates. So in Texas, undocumented immigrants have a 26 lower percent homicide conviction rates. So, which is 2.2 per 100,000 versus 3 for native-born citizens. Nationally, immigrants are incarcerated at half the rate of native-born, where it's 0.85% versus 1.71%. That's according to Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2019. So if safety is your goal, why deport people who make our streets safer? This is my third point. Mass deportation tears apart American families. Over 4.4 million U.S. citizens, children have an undocumented parent, and in Texas, 1 in 7 kids lives in a mixed status household. Okay, this is my fourth point. Deportation is a fiscal nightmare. Removing 11 million people would cost 315 to 400 billion, more than the entire Homeland Security budget, and shrink our GDP by 1.7 trillion over 10 years. And this is my last point. Our immigration system is broken, pushing people to cross illegally. Visa waits Mexicans can exceed 20 years, and the asylum blockage is 1.3 million cases, with hearings 4 to 6 years out. Okay.
You done?
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, so without looking at the phone, look at me. What
Sure.
should the penalty be for breaking into America?
I think there should be a system where it's more merit-based. So if this
No,
person
penalty. So what is the penalty? So what should happen to you?
felony. It's not a felony. It's a
No,
misdemeanor.
it is. That's not true. It's 8
It-
U.S.C.
it's a
1312. You
misdemeanor.
can look it up right now.
It's a felony if it's done twice. If you try to cross the border, that is correct.
That is not correct.
I googled it, dude.
To illegally go across the southern border with the well intent to come into harbor yourself into the interior of the United States, the violation of 8 U.S.C. 1312, which
Okay.
is a felony in the federal criminal code. Now, it can be enforced as a misdemeanor, or it can
Yeah.
be upwards to 5 years in prison. Now, I want to know, since it's a felony, law in the
Sure.
books, 8 U.S.C. 1312,
Yeah.
what should the penalty be?
Well, in my opinion, these kinds of laws are usually they're what do you call it? They're sorry. Usually the sorry. Wait, sorry. Can I check my phone real quick? I apologize. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
What should the penalty be
Penalty be. Okay.
for someone that breaks or comes into America illegally? What should the penalty be?
I think there should be a merit system where the people. Okay, the
Not
penalty.
answer.
All right, let's.
That's
the penalty.
not the
So-
answer. It's a very simple moral
Okay.
and legal question.
Okay,
What
sure.
should the penalty be if you come into America illegally?
Okay, so since it's a misdemeanor, not a felony, misdemeanors
I
are.
just
that's
told you
not
it's
true,
not 8.
dude.
You can look up on
That's
your
not
chat
true.
GPT what is
Yeah,
8
yeah.
USC. Look up what is 8 USC 1312.
No, I know. I've already looked it up.
Yes,
When it's your second time crossing the border illegally, then it becomes a felony.
it can be, and it is enforced as a felony, and it usually is done as a misdemeanor citation because no one has the stones to do 20 million felony applications.
Okay.
So I just want to ask,
Yeah.
what should the penalty be then for someone that comes into this country illegally?
Usually there's 3 ways that go about this when there's a penalty. There's either like a fine, or there's some kind of public service that this person does, or you send them back. But
Send them back. I agree. That's what we should do.
Okay. So this is interesting. So one of the statistics that I read said that illegal immigrants don't cause as much they don't break the law as often as people who are native born.
Well, hold on, time out.
That is statistic.
But
time out.
But
dude.
every single one of them are criminals. They're all criminals.
Okay, sure. By law.
Well, hold
by
on.
law.
No,
okay,
no.
by law, of course. Of course they are.
Wait, so
I
if
agree that
they commit less crime and they're all criminals, wait a
Okay,
second.
so
By
you're basing it-
definition,
yeah.
they all have broken the law by being here, and they break
Okay.
the law every day by staying here because you're
Okay.
actually not allowed to stay here either. Do you know that? So
Yeah,
every
yeah.
day you're here, you're actually continually breaking the law. You can't break in or harbor. That's what the federal law says.
Okay.
So by breaking in, it's not just the only law they broke. Every second you remain here, you're also
Yeah.
breaking the law. So that statistic is invalidated by just them breathing here. They're breaking the law.
No, of course not. Of course not. So of course it makes sense for them when they're here, they're breaking the law because they're illegal immigrants, obviously. But once they're of course. So once they are here, what kind of harm are they actually doing? When you look at the numbers statistically,
lot.
No, that's not true. Okay,
Black
so look,
wages have
in
gone
Texas,
down.
Okay, in Texas,
DUIs have gone up dramatically.
Try not to interrupt, bro.
Well,
Okay,
hold
so
on. I'm interjecting, and I let you go uninterrupted with your whole soliloquy,
true, yeah,
right?
yeah, thank you.
So let me ask you a question now.
Okay.
So, if it is correct,
Yeah.
that illegal aliens commit less crimes, which of course it's not correct.
That is correct. Look it up. In
But
Texas, they made a study in 2019. 26% are
is
lower.
any crime? It's just not correct. But I'm
That
not going
is
to debate that.
correct.
It's I just proved it at its face because they commit a crime by being here every day. That is a crime.
Okay, once they are here, what kind of crimes are they committing? Which is
Okay. Well,
they're 26%.
okay. Do you know the name
less.
Laken Riley?
No, educate me.
Oh, you don't.
No.
Do you know? Wow. Do you know the name Rachel Morin?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Wait, educate
Okay.
me. What
So
kind of...
Laken Riley was a girl at the University of Georgia.
Okay.
There was a peeping Tommy, a legal alien, that was deported 5 times prior, and Biden kept on letting him back in. He hunted her down, raped her, sodomized her, and murdered her on a hiking trail, University of Georgia.
Okay, so
Rachel,
one person doesn't represent
hold
all
on a
illegal
second.
immigrants.
Every person who is killed by an illegal alien is one that should not happen. Every single one.
Of course, and also the ones that are
and
native born.
Everyone.
As
And so
well as
that's
the
the
ones who are
point.
native born.
Is that it's not a
As
matter
well
of
as
the
people who are
rate.
native born.
The rate, even if I accept your premise, which is incorrect, the rate is irrelevant. The number is what's relevant. There should be 0 illegal aliens. There should be 0 Americans being killed by illegals.
So, okay.
Not to mention there's 6 other problems with the illegal aliens. They steal Social Security numbers. They depress wages. They are heavily
not
involved.
true.
By the way, not to mention, a lot of people that cross on the southern border are also smuggling girls, weapons, and drugs alongside the southern border when they come. It's the largest slavery operation in American history that many illegal aliens help make possible on the southern border. And I guess the final question I'll have is, should a government serve its citizens first and foremost?
Yeah, of course. Well, okay, there's been many people who are like very political leaders who have said that this place is built off of immigrants.
Oh, is it? Wait, hold on. Let's think about that.
Sure.
First of all, it's legal, not illegal. But was America founded by immigrants or settlers?
Settlers.
That's not an immigrant.
Yeah. Okay.
An
Well, that's not
immigrant
my
is-
point. My point is
You
that
just
people
brought
who-
up the nation built by immigrants.
Yeah,
We're
because
actually
people,
not.
because the political leaders have said that this place is built
Yeah, and they're
from
wrong.
immigrants.
I
They're
mean,
wrong. Political
yes.
leaders are wrong. George W.
Yes.
Bush is wrong. All these political leaders
Yes.
who have built
yes.
America is
By the way, the
wrong.
first person to say that was
How is
Ted-
that wrong? When
Hold
illegal
on, 'cause
immigrants make,
I just
they grow the economy.
okay,
Statistically,
allow me
studies.
allow me to build it out for you.
Sure.
Immigrants have helped at times in American history, but we are first and foremost a nation founded by settlers. Immigrants come to a country already built. Settlers come to a barren place and build something new.
Right.
This land was barren when people came. In the 1840s gold rush, this was not an easy place to live.
Yeah.
California was not exactly industrialized. There was not immigrants coming west to California. Those were settlers building a new place around, Western values. Finally, I would just ask the question, do you see a moral distinction between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant?
Well, the argument is that they're cutting in line. Like the argument is that they're cutting in line in the 20-year process that it would take for someone to cross here legally.
It's not 20, but yeah.
At most it's 20. At most it's 20. Right now there's around like 1.2 million people who are currently waiting that would take 6 to 7 years for a hearing.
And by the way, no one has a right to come to this country,
Of
just to
cour-
be
wait,
clear.
let me stay
And-
on track of what I was gonna say. Okay, so people who come here usually, almost all the time when they come here, they benefit society. They benefit society. There's studies that have done this.
Not
There's
necessarily. I
okay,
mean,
not necessarily, but overall in general.
But no,
when you look overall
I
in general, when you look at the
fundamentally
statistics-
disagree with that.
You can't
I mean,
disagree with a fact.
Hold on.
It's-
Do you think Elon Omar has enriched the United States of America?
I don't know who.
Do you
that
think
is.
Rashida Tlaib?
Uh huh.
I mean, I could go through person
Wait,
by
are
person by
these-
person.
So I don't know these people. Are these people who have are illegal immigrants that have caused harm?
Yeah, if you don't know, I don't mean to pick on you. It's fine.
Okay,
But I
thanks.
guess the final question is,
Sure.
do you have any concern that there are too many people coming into this country and we're a nation of strangers, not a nation of neighbors?
If the people who are coming are creating America, making it more growing, like the economy is growing, then what harm is that doing? Especially if the people
because
who
we're
are
more
coming
than
are
an
not.
economy, though, aren't we? We're a culture. We're a language.
Yeah,
we're
of course.
people.
Okay, so let's talk about that front. When they come here, they don't have any kind of. They're not committing as more crimes than the people who are already here. That is a
We've
statistic
already
done.
dispelled that, but
That
do
is not- you can't
in
dispel a
California,
statistic.
Let's
What are
take
you talking
California.
about? You can't-
Do you think there's anything wrong that a
What?
majority of young people in California speak Spanish, not English?
Wait, sorry. Can you see the?
Do you think there's anything wrong or troubling to the fact that a majority of people under the age of 30 here in this state speak Spanish, not English? Is there a problem with that?
Well, yeah, everyone should be able to have a ability to communicate with the rest of the crowd. So I don't know what the big issue of that
See, I think
is.
it's a huge problem when we have a nation where you can't communicate
Sure.
with your fellow
Okay.
neighbor.
Simple solution. Teach them how to speak English. What is
Well,
your
yeah,
point?
and our schools don't do that actually. And also, how about better solution?
Yeah.
Don't import a bunch of people that don't speak English.
You mean importing people who actually grow the economy?
Well, but,
who
again,
don't.
reject.
What?
I reject your premise. We
That's
are more
not
than
a premise. That's a study that's been done.
Do
What
you
are
know what a
talking
premise is?
about?
I don't actually care as much about economic growth because
You
we're
don't
one
care
nation
about- you
under.
don't care about
We're one
economic
nation under
growth.
GDP. We're not one nation under GDP. We're a nation under God.
Yeah.
And when we lose social cohesion, and you import a bunch of people that don't share our values, that don't necessarily always assimilate, that's a major and serious problem. And we are a people first and foremost with a creed, and that creed is falling apart. Mass migration has not helped that creed. Yes, they might buy more trinkets. They might help depress wages. Mass migration, of course, can
Right,
help
all
them-
good things, all great
hold
things
on.
for America
They,
that needs.
well, they help major corporations, but you know what they also do? They keep down the wages of working people. If you are a plumber, yes, of course. If you think about it, if you're a plumber, electrician, or a welder, and you have to compete against someone from Nicaragua who's willing to do it for $5 less an hour, that depresses the wages of the American citizen.
Right. Yeah. So there's been studies that have done that also like counteract that. Illegal immigrants.
Well, let's
only
use our reason.
Illegal. No,
Hold on, let's
no,
use
let's
our
look
reason.
our studies.
Let's
how
use
about,
our
how about
reason.
statistics?
How about our reason? So we've had mass migration for 20 years. Have wages gone up?
I don't know.
No, they haven't actually.
No,
So
okay.
forget your studies. For 10 years
Forget your studies.
for 10 years we've had 30 million people come into America. Wages have gone down dramatically.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason why.
Okay. Okay.
So what I encourage you to do, just because there's a study that confirms, you should use your reason and look actually at self-evident truths. Be like, does that make sense? Can you name
Statistics are self-evident.
Well,
truths.
not always. Statistics are
Not
very
always?
misleading. Yes, like for example, I could say, did you know that 600 people a year die because of seatbelts? Well, that's a misleading statistic because over 100,000 lives are saved by seatbelts. That's an incomplete statistic.
Wait, okay, so where's the so that's a gray area. So where's the gray area where people are talking about where 26% of illegal immigrants who come here commit less crimes than native born?
Okay, how many times have we been over this? That's just not correct.
Well,
It's
that
not
is
true.
correct. That is correct.
Every single crime. It doesn't matter
this
about
is a
the
study
rate.
that was done in Texas, the most diverse,
Again.
second most diverse state.
Every crime an illegal commits is one that should never have happened. It
Okay.
is a period.
Yeah, of course,
they
of
should
course.
not be here. So
I
I don't
agree.
care about the rate. The rate is irrelevant. So let me just ask one final
The rate
question.
is relevant.
Someone broke into the country and cut in line. What should happen to them?
Well, they're given. Ideally, there's a system. Ideally, there's a system that's merit-based where these people then become part of the citizen. Like they become a legal citizen.
Yeah, I mean, we have clarity but not agreement. I say deport them all back to their country of
I don't
origin
think
and
that's
put
not
Americans
that's
first.
That's not an appropriate solution. When
well, the
no.
American people voted for it, and
Most
it is appropriate.
People, it isn't appropriate because most of the people that do come here illegally contribute positively to
Again,
society.
they-
Not again,
they are-
dude. Statistically,
I have
everything
been
backs
through-
this.
You're not
Everything
listening to
backs
anything I'm saying, and that's fine. They take jobs from Americans. They depress wages. They steal Social Security numbers. They commit a crime every single day that they're here. They flood our public schools. They flood our social services. They flood our hospitals. They are a burden on the taxpayer. They should go back and make their own country great again and apply and become a legal immigrant if they want to live here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next question. Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. Great to meet you. Thank you for letting me speak in your platform. First of all, I really disagree with you in a lot of things.
Be respectful, guys. It's fine. Part of what makes America a great country.
It does. It does. America's a great country, but I don't like your T-shirt. And I'm gonna get started by saying I'm an immigrant, and well, I don't understand why you would want to deport all some of my friends and family who have been working hard in this country and that they're being persecuted right now. So I don't get the whole process of it, and it feels like I'm being discriminated against even though I'm here through legal means. But just can you please give me an answer for that? And before that, if let's say if I would come up here and say I'm an illegal immigrant and I'm here trying to debate you, would you call ICE?
I mean, Tom Homan would probably see the video, and you'd probably go back to your true country.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it works, right? But let me just ask you a question. What is the fair way a country, in your ideal, you're king. What's your name? Sorry.
I'm Claudio, sir.
Yeah, Claudio. And this is just a thought exercise, but it's very revealing. You are king, and you find out that there are 30 million uninvited people in your country. What do you do with them?
Oh, in this case, I try to find the most humane way of sending them back to our country. But First of all,
Oh,
I want to say
that's what we're doing.
Wait, let me just say something.
That's what we're doing.
Let me just say
King
something.
Claudio,
Yeah.
long live the king.
Bro, I'm not a dictator at all, but
Of course, I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah, yeah.
it's a helpful thought
no,
exercise.
I get it. And all I'm saying is you were talking about, like, in the past couple of people that came up here, like, America first, trying to get, like, the best for our country and, like, increasing the productivity and getting us to be, like, the best country possible, which I agree. Like, I love this country. But a lot of this country is built on, like, illegal immigrant labor, and it's definitely, like, a bad means, but it's been a good result somehow. Like, I'm sure you know people, like, you have friends from, like, home that own businesses that employ these types of people that are very productive and very, very honest and just hardworking, trying to get a better life. And a lot of those people are very close to me, so it's just a very heartbreaking situation for me, but I understand.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, and you gave the answer if you were in charge. I guess this is another important question. What should the punishment be then if you break into somebody else's country uninvited and stay there without welcome?
Well, I don't know what the punishment should be. I'm not a lawyer.
No,
but
that's okay. I'm just
yeah,
asking. It's totally.
Yeah.
Here's our position: is that it is against federal law to come into America, right?
True.
You're not allowed to come into the country without invite. So that's against the law. So if we can do one of two things, and there's very little in the middle. There's some nuance, but we can say we are not going to enforce the law because, we're just going to say that doesn't matter. Or we could say, look, the law is blind, and when you break the law, it must apply to all people. Now, I think you're a little different because I don't want you to loop in. So what country did you emigrate from?
Are you gonna, like, discriminate against me?
No, I'm actually not. I'm going to do the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
What? I'm curious.
I'm Mexican.
Okay, fine. But you
Yeah.
came here legally, correct?
I did, sir.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Well, if I didn't, you'd be calling the police when you.
No, but it's not a racial thing. If you were Polish and you overstayed a visa, then you should be. But hold on, you followed the rules, so you're exempt.
Mm-hmm.
The people that you know didn't follow the rules.
True.
So I divide America not into Mexican and white and Hispanic and white, into rule follower and rule breaker.
Yeah.
And so when someone breaks our rules, there must be justice done.
Yeah.
There must be a punishment. And the most humane way is you go back to your country of origin. We'll do it humanely, we'll do it correctly, but if you are not invited into a home, into a dorm room, into a living room, the standard applies to an entire country. Now, to your point, you might be right. There might be some economic disruption. However, you know what happens if you have economic disruption in the labor pool? Wages are going to go up. And you guys are going to see your wages
Yeah,
go
but
up.
who is gonna occupy those jobs?
So this is a little bit insulting. I don't think you mean it this way. That illegal immigrants are nothing more than just kind of like
No.
I'm not.
And these are my people, so how could I be insulting them?
I'm even defending. I don't think
Yeah.
you mean it this way.
Yeah.
But broadly, when we talk about immigration, there's a talking about like, well, who's going to pick your grapefruits and like, who's going to serve you Chipotle? You've probably heard this before,
Yeah,
right?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Who's going to clean your hotel room?
It's us, yeah.
But hold on, embedded in that is kind of a really derogatory. That's like they're kind of just like a permanent serf class here to serve us. I think that's like really creepy and weird. Actually, these are human beings. They're more than just kind of economic utility.
Yeah, no, but like in the history of the U.S., like we first had like the Italian and Polish immigrants, and they first served those jobs, and then they became like economically sufficient,
but
and
they were welcomed.
True.
And they
but
were,
it was a different time in history, like.
Of course, but
Yeah.
I suppose the broader question is one of justice, which is that to what should a country do when your sovereignty has been so massively violated for a long period of time? And a country seeks to be a country, becomes something else. It becomes a colony, or it becomes just kind of a random area if a country does not have loyalty to its own people. And if it has loyalty to foreigners or to an oligarchy, it ceases to be a country. So it's not the most popular argument. Well, actually, the American people voted for it, and it sounds cruel, but it's very simple. It's like, look, this is not against any of you personally, but you have to have the law be the first and last ushering of what a government does in this situation. And by the way, what I was saying about you, I'm getting back to you. You deserve to be applauded because you guys followed the rules. And it's not fair to people like you who followed the rules to all of a sudden have line cutters. Here's the equivalent. You guys waited in line like two and a half hours to go get a meal at a restaurant, and someone shows up and just cuts in line. What was the first thing you would say? That's not fair. And you would be right. And the same with immigration, please.
Yeah. Wait, let me just like add a layer to this, and then I'm probably done. But like, let's say that the people that's cutting like in front of line, like, that's like some of my boys like that I know, that they're being like persecuted like back home, them and their families, like they're like in like drug related like wars and violence, and the only way out, like the only way they're not gonna die or like suffer a very bad fate is if they escape and they break the American law. But that's the only way they're gonna survive. So like,
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Two thoughts on this. Number one, if that is correct, we have a special asylum status that they could seek legally at a port of entry, that they could go through a whole
yeah.
process.
But if they're being persecuted, don't they not deserve? But it wouldn't be justified to cut the line.
No.
Okay.
Secondly, well, it might be justified in their mind, but it's not justified in the rule administrator's mind to make
Yeah.
exception for it. But let me make a more important point, though. If we all of a sudden say that if you have a lot of gang violence and issues, I mean, like we have a lot of gang violence and issues. Like, what are we talking about here?
True.
Like, we're a more dangerous country than half of the Central American countries. We're far more dangerous than El Salvador. And we could make an example. If that is the criteria, like all of South America should be allowed into America. Basically, I mean, the idea is that at some point you have almost no standard whatsoever, and instead, here's my perspective. We should empower those people to go fix their own country. We should empower them to go make El Salvador great again, which is a great country now.
Okay.
Nicaragua, Honduras. Yes, please, final
So
thought.
wouldn't like a good way to start is like trying to lower the demand for drugs in America, because a lot of the drugs that are like being produced and being fought over in South America are going to be supplied to the U.S. for American consumers.
Yeah, so how would you recommend lowering demand?
I have no idea. Like, what would you do? Or like,
I don't know. I mean, demand and supply are two different issues, right?
True.
I mean, the first part of demand is that way too many people get into, and I talked to my earlier point, they get into a thought pattern that substances are going to bring me flourishing, which
Yeah.
I think is wrong. But yes, I think, look, the drug cartels are richer than ever before, and we have more drugs legalized than any time in the last 40 years. So something doesn't fit. So obviously drug legalization is not impoverishing them. The biggest way, though, that we stop these third world countries from being, tin pot despotic dictatorships is we have to stop subsidizing their oligarchy through foreign aid. And then, yes, you're right, the Chinese Communist Party is pumping tons of money into these countries. But finally, and I know this sounds a little bit cruel, is that I care far more about the suffering of Americans than the suffering of other people's countries first.
I would too, yeah.
And you have to.
Yeah.
You have to look after your own people. You have to draw the line. And it's the old adage, right, guys? If your plane is going down, what do they tell you to do first? You put your mask on first, and then the mask on the person that might not be able to put a mask on, an infant or someone that might be infirmed. It's the same way as a country. We need to put our own oxygen mask on first, and then we can worry about helping other people. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Can I get a hat?